Welcome to the Spectrum of Wisdom, where we explore the beauty and diversity of the natural world. Today, we're taking a closer look at the Splendid Fairywren, a small and colorful bird native to Australia. With its vibrant blue plumage and lively personality, the Splendid Fairywren is sure to capture your heart. Join us as we discover more about this fascinating creature and its habitat. Let's get started. The Splendid Fairywren, also known as the splendid wren or the blue wren, is a small, long-tailed bird found across much of the Australian continent. It is known for its bright blue and black coloration in breeding males, while non-breeding males, females, and juveniles are predominantly grey-brown. The bird inhabits arid and semi-arid regions, ranging from forest to dry scrub, with ample vegetation for shelter. One of the most interesting aspects of the Splendid Fairywren is its peculiar behavior. Although socially monogamous, the birds are sexually promiscuous and both partners will mate with other individuals. Male wrens even have a unique courtship display where they pluck pink or purple petals to present to females. Unfortunately, unlike its relative the superb fairywren, the Splendid Fairywren has not adapted well to human occupation and has disappeared from some urbanized areas. Its diet mainly consists of insects, supplemented by seeds. Overall, the Splendid Fairywren is a fascinating bird with unique behaviors and striking coloration. It's truly a splendid creature. The Splendid Fairywren is one of 11 species of the genus Melurus, commonly known as fairywrens, found in Australia and lowland New Guinea. It is most closely related to the superb fairywren within the genus, and these two, blue wrens, closely related to the purple-crowned fairywren of northwestern Australia. The Splendid Fairywren was first described as Saxicola splendens by French naturalists Jean-René Constant-Quoy and Joseph-Paul Gaimard in 1830, before being given the scientific name of Melurus pectoralis and vernacular name of banded superb warbler by John Gould. However, the specific name of the former authors took priority. The specific epithet is derived from the Latin splendens, which means shining. Despite its common name, the Splendid Fairywren is unrelated to the true wren. It was initially classified as a member of the Old World flycatcher family Muscicapidae, later placed in the warbler family Sylviidae, before being placed in the newly recognized family Meluridae in 1975. More recent DNA analysis has shown the family Meluridae to be related to the family Meliphagidae, the honey-eaters, and the family Pardalotidae within a large superfamily, Meliphagoidea. In addition to its scientific names, the Splendid Fairywren is also commonly referred to as the splendid blue wren. This bird truly lives up to its splendid name with its vibrant colors and fascinating behaviors. The Splendid Fairywren belongs to the domain Eukaryota, kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Aves, order Passeriformes, family Meluridae, and genus Melurus. This classification reflects the bird's characteristics and evolutionary relationships with other species. According to ornithologist Richard Shodd's 1982 monograph, the common ancestor of the superb and splendid fairywrens had a southern origin. The ancestor was split into southwestern, splendid, and southeastern, superb, enclaves. The splendid forms were able to spread into inland areas due to the southwest being drier than the southeast. These split into at least 3 enclaves, which subsequently evolved in isolation during drier glacial periods until the current more favorable climate allowed them to expand once again and interbreed where they overlap. This suggests that the original split was only very recent, as the forms had insufficient time to speciate. Further molecular studies may result in this hypothesis being modified. A 2017 genetic study using both mitochondrial and nuclear DNA found that the ancestors of the superb and splendid fairywrens diverged from each other around 4 million years ago, and their common ancestor diverged around 7 million years ago from a lineage that gave rise to the white-shouldered, white-winged, and red-backed fairywrens. The Splendid Fairywren, a petite bird with a lengthy tail, measures about 14 centimeters, 5.5 in length. This bird is known for its striking sexual dimorphism. The breeding male is a sight to behold with its vibrant blue forehead and ear coverts, a violet throat, and a rich blue back, wings, chest, and tail. It also sports a black bill, eye band, and chest band. This dazzling blue breeding plumage of the male is often referred to as nuptial plumage. In contrast, the non-breeding male dons a more subdued brown color with hints of blue in the wings and a bluish tail. The female bears a resemblance to the non-breeding male but stands out with her chestnut bill and eye patch. Immature males undergo their first molt into breeding plumage during the first breeding season after hatching. However, this transformation may be incomplete with residual brownish plumage and may take another year or two to perfect. After the breeding season in autumn, both sexes molt, with males transitioning into an eclipsed non-breeding plumage. They molt again into nuptial plumage in winter or spring. Interestingly, some older males remain blue all year round, molting directly from one year's nuptial plumage to the next. The breeding male's blue plumage, particularly the ear coverts, is highly iridescent due to the flattened and twisted surface of the barbules. The blue plumage also strongly reflects ultraviolet light, making it potentially more prominent to other fairy wrens whose color vision extends into this part of the spectrum. The splendid fairy wren communicates through various calls. Its primary call is described as a gushing reel. This call is harsher and louder than other fairy wrens and varies from individual to individual. A soft single TRT serves as a contact call within a foraging group, while the alarm call is at sit. Cuckoos and other intruders may be greeted with a threat posture and chirring threat. Females emit a purr while brooding. The splendid fairy wren is widely distributed throughout the arid and semi-arid regions of Australia. It thrives in dry, shrubby habitats such as mulga and mullee in the drier parts of the country and forested areas in the southwest. The western subspecies splendens and eastern black-backed fairy wren, subspecies melanotus, are largely sedentary, while the turquoise fairy wren, subspecies musgrave, is thought to be partially nomadic. Unlike its eastern counterpart, the superb fairy wren, the splendid fairy wren has not adapted well to human occupation of the landscape and has disappeared from some urbanized areas. Forestry plantations of pine, Pinus spp, and eucalypts are also unsuitable habitats for this bird as they lack undergrowth. Like all fairy wrens, the splendid fairy wren is an active and restless feeder. It forages on open ground near shelter and through lower foliage, moving in a series of jaunty hops and bounces. Its balance is assisted by its proportionally large tail, which is usually held upright and rarely still. The short, rounded wings provide good initial lift and are useful for short flights, though not for extended jaunts. However, splendid fairy wrens are stronger flyers than most other fairy wrens. During spring and summer, the birds are active in bursts throughout the day, accompanying their foraging with song. Insects are abundant and easy to catch, allowing the birds to rest between forays. The group often shelters and rests together during the heat of the day. In winter, food is harder to find, requiring the birds to forage continuously throughout the day. Splendid fairy wrens live in groups of 2 to 8 individuals that remain in their territory and defend it year-round. The size of their territories averages 4.4 hectares, 11 acres, in woodland heath areas and varies with the density of vegetation and the number of males in the group. The group consists of a socially monogamous pair with one or more male or female helper birds that were hatched in the territory. Splendid fairy wrens are sexually promiscuous, with each partner mating with other individuals and even assisting in raising the young from such trysts. Over a third of offspring are the result of an extramarital mating. Helper birds assist in defending the territory and feeding and rearing the young. Birds in a group roost side by side in dense cover and engage in mutual preening. Major nest predators include Australian magpies, butcherbirds, laughing kookaburras, currawongs, crows and ravens, shrike thrushes, as well as introduced mammals such as red foxes, cats, and black rats. Like other species of fairy wrens, splendid fairy wrens may use a rodent run display to distract predators from nests with young birds. While performing this display, the bird lowers its head, neck, and tail while holding out its wings and fluffing its feathers as it runs rapidly while voicing a continuous alarm call. Splendid fairy wren males have several courtship displays that are quite fascinating. One such display is the seahorse flight, named for its similarity to the movements of a seahorse. During this display, the male performs an exaggerated undulating flight, extending his neck and erecting his head feathers. He flies and tilts his body from horizontal to vertical, rapidly beating his wings to descend slowly and spring upwards after alighting on the ground. Another display is the face fan display, which may be seen as part of aggressive or sexual behaviors. This display involves the flaring of the blue ear tufts by erecting the feathers. These displays are just some of the ways that splendid fairy wren males attract mates and show off their impressive plumage. Another fascinating behavior of male splendid fairy wrens, as well as other fairy wren species, is their habit of plucking petals during the reproductive season. In the case of the splendid fairy wren, males predominantly pluck pink and purple petals, which contrast with their plumage. These petals often form part of a courtship display and are presented to females in the male's own or another territory. Even outside the breeding season, males may sometimes show petals to females in other territories, presumably to promote themselves. It is interesting to note that fairy wrens are socially monogamous but sexually promiscuous. Pairs bond for life, but regularly mate with other individuals. A proportion of young will have been fathered by males from outside the group. Young are often raised not only by the pair but also by other males who mated with the female. Petal carrying might be a behavior that strengthens the pair bond or a way for extra males to gain matings with the female. However, data does not strongly link petal carrying and presenting to a copulation soon thereafter. Researchers at the Department of Ecology and Evolution at the University of Chicago published a paper in Behavioral Ecology in 2010 showing that male splendid fairy wrens sing display-like vocalizations, type 2 song, in response to predator calls. The trills hitchhike on the predator's vocalization, and female splendid fairy wrens, which have become more alert due to the predator calls, also respond more strongly to this type 2 song than when it is given without a predator call preceding it. The splendid fairy wren's breeding season typically occurs from late August through to January, although heavy rain in August may delay this. The female takes on the task of building the nest, which is a round or domed structure made of loosely woven grasses and spider webs. The entrance is on one side, close to the ground, and well concealed in thick and often thorny vegetation, such as Acacia pulchella or a species of Hakea. During the breeding season, 1 or 2 broods may be laid. A clutch usually consists of 2 to 4 dull white eggs with reddish-brown splotches and spots, measuring 12 by 16 mm, 1/2 by 5/8 in. Incubation takes about 2 weeks. The female incubates the eggs for 14 or 15 days. After hatching, nestlings are fed and their fecal sacs removed by all group members for 10 to 13 days, by which time they are fledged. Young birds remain in the family group as helpers for a year or more before moving to another group, usually an adjacent one, or assuming a dominant position in the original group. In this role they feed and care for subsequent broods. Splendid fairy wrens also commonly play host to the brood parasite Horsfield's bronze cuckoo, Calcites basalis, with the shining bronze cuckoo, Calcites lucidus, also recorded. The splendid fairy wren is predominantly insectivorous, feeding on a wide range of small creatures, mostly arthropods such as ants, grasshoppers, crickets, spiders, and bugs. Its diet is supplemented by small quantities of seeds, flowers, and fruit. The birds mostly forage on the ground or in shrubs that are less than 2 meters above the ground, a practice termed hop searching. Unusually for fairy wrens, they may also occasionally forage in the canopy of flowering gums. Birds tend to stick fairly close to cover and forage in groups as this foraging practice does render them vulnerable to a range of predators. Food can be scarce in winter and ants are an important last resort option, constituting a much higher proportion of the diet. Adult fairy wrens feed their young a different diet, conveying larger items such as caterpillars and grasshoppers to nestlings. Thank you for watching this video about the splendid fairy wren. We hope you enjoyed learning about this fascinating bird and its unique characteristics. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, Spectrum of Wisdom, for more informative content. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family, and leave a comment below to let us know what you think. Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of nature.